Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with a battle report between my Bretonnians and a demon army. This is another game I'm just trying to prepare for a tournament that's coming up. Put together a 3,000 point list. I tried to put together a list that I felt was competitive, but in all honesty, a lot of it was just I needed stuff that was painted because there's a lot of points given in the tournament for being fully painted and having conversions and stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure I got some practice in. My opponent normally has beautifully painted armies. He's just started this corn-themed Chaos Demon army, and so it's only primed right now. And he actually only showed up. He only had 2,500 points, and I asked him to bump it up to 3,000. So we just had to proxy some stuff. So on the far right, he's got some Flesh Hounds. He's got his Bloodthirster that's just nasty. 7 attacks, re-rolling all rolls to hit and to wound. Strength 7. Can fly. I mean, just, oh my gosh, I'm not sure how to deal with it other than dropping a rock on its head. Beyond that, he's got 3 units of Bloodletters, 2 on the far right on the hill, 1 on the far left being proxied with dice. He never does that. Again, he did this just to, so we could play our game. Let's see, all those units have heralds in them, so they all have hatred. And he's got a unit of Blood Crushers there in the middle, and on the front left, he has a herald there as well. So in looking at this, I never know what to do against these armies. The killing blow really scares me. The combination of that with hatred, meaning he's going to get a lot of hits. He can do a lot of damage. I'm likely never going to be able to hit him once and break through. So how do I beat these armies down, these units down, so I can actually outright kill them before getting flank charged? So on my far left, I've got some Peg Knights, Trebuchet on the hill, 6 Grail Knights, Knights of the Realm, and currently there's only one character in there, and that's my Prophetess. She's got Crown of Command. There's a unit of Knights Errant next to him, and normally I put my General in with them. This time I didn't. I put a Paladin. He's got a 1-up rerollable armor save. And of course the problem is that with all these killing blow attacks, my defensively built Paladins aren't any good because I don't get an armor save against killing blow. So because of that, I took my Battle Standard Bearer out of a unit, and I'm just hiding behind. My opponent doesn't have any magic or shooting, and so he's safe. I've got some Questy Knights there, a big unit of Men-at-Arms with my Damsel, a Grower Leek, a Trebuchet behind it, Fast Cav, and 2 small units of Archers on the right. Oh yes, and my General. So I took him out of units completely. I don't think he can, even with Heroic Killing Blow, I don't think he will live long enough to be able to attack that Bloodthirster. 7 attacks, re-rolling all to hit and to wound. Probably get 6 wounds on me. I'll have a 6-up armor save, and then a 5-up ward, and I'm certain 3 wounds will go through. But nevertheless, I put him over here to try to bait his guy into charging me and getting failed charges. So that's the only thing I could really think of. I don't see the General doing a whole lot of good anywhere else on the board anyway, so that's what I did. So Demons turn 1, he moves up, as you can see. No magic, no shooting. Yeah, this is what I'm staring at. I could probably charge him. I just don't see the point. I mean, I could go in there and just hope that I get insanely lucky, but whatever. I'd rather just conserve the points. So Bretonnian turn 1, I move up, as you can see. Really, I'm trying to push forward with my rightmost units, let them hold things up, take my knights on the left, blow through something, turn around, and then face the units here on my right. So you can see I didn't charge with my General. I'm back far enough. I'm hoping he charges my General because he has a decent chance of failing it. And so that's what I'm hoping for there. Otherwise, it looks like this. And Trebuchets make, I think I killed 2 full Blood Crushers, so I was very happy about that. That makes them a lot less scary, especially if I can get a couple Lance units in there. Demons turn 2. His Flesh Hounds charged my Archers, and I failed because he actually had a decent chance of making it, and I had a decent chance of staying on the board. What I didn't want is for his Flesh Hounds to make that charge and then be all the way back at my back line. So I didn't really care if my Archers fled off the table. They didn't, and he failed his charge, of course, and so it's like that. I'm pretty happy with that. His General, you can see, if you look in the upper right, his General has, I think, 2 wounds on it. I think I got the Strength 10 Amber Spear off, and it got past his 3-up magic resistance buffed ward save, and then I rolled 2 on my wounds. So I'll take it. He's a little bit weaker now. Anyway, you can see 1 unit of his bloodletters charged my Grower Leak. So I just need them to hold up for a while. Otherwise, it is as you can see it. Yeah, all that. Now, once he chops through all my battle pilgrims, you can see here, I think I started with 11 and I'm down to 6. So he killed a bunch. But his killing blow wasn't really hurting me yet because it doesn't really matter. But once all I have left is the Grail Relique, I think it counts as an infantry model, so killing blow will actually take out that whole thing, even though it has 6 wounds. So it's not a wonderful matchup for me. Go to Bretonnian turn 2. You can see I took my general and just backed him up again. I'm hoping he charges me and just keeps failing charges, trying to hold him off as long as possible. I take my men-at-arms and walk them up, or march them up, so that his middle unit can't countercharge. And I take all 4 of my knight units and charge his blood crushers. And I did it because I was worried about, like, if I only charged 2 in there, 1 might fail, and then that would be really bad for me. I didn't really I could have charged 2 into them and 2 into the unit on the left. I was just worried about his killing blow, so I thought instead I could charge in the rear with my peg knights. If they can just hold, then on my, I can maybe get a charge in without him having hatred at least. In hindsight, I think I probably wouldn't do it that way. I'd probably just take 2 units into both, but whatever, that's what I did. Alternatively, instead of charging the peg knights in, I could have just flown them over their head and used them as redirectors, which very likely is a better solution. What I'm doing here is I have a charge and a rear. That's 3. He has a standard and 3 ranks, so he's starting off with 1 combat res. So I'm really just hoping I do enough extra wounds to win that combat and just kind of stick around. So that I'm confident about winning. I rallied my peasants, kind of amazing, kind of funny. And so when we go over here, the good news is I beat the Blood Crushers pretty easily. I actually only lost probably, what is that, 3 knights, 1 from each unit, I think is what it ended up being. By the time my questy knights went, there was not enough Blood Crushers left for them to even attack. I think I maybe have gotten 3 in there, if any. Anyway, so I went ahead and overran with 2 of them so I wouldn't get countercharged, and then just reformed the questy knight so I'd have some options later. I'm really in hurt now. The peg knight plan didn't work. You can see he did 3 wounds on me and broke me from combat, and he's facing my Grail Knights. So now he's going to get a free charge of my Grail Knights. So that was just really poor planning. I need to just use the peg knights as redirectors instead of hoping to get lucky or whatever. Now what really, really hurt is that my Grail Relique lost combat, of course, and they were stubborn 9 rerollable, and they failed it and got ran down, and that really, really hurts because now they can discharge my general. So that was much worse. I was okay with losing the Grail Knights because that meant that 1 unit was away from everything else and might have been out of the rest of the game, and I was okay with that. This really hurts. So on his turn, he charges a general, he charges the Grail Knights, he takes his Bloodthirster to the side of the men-at-arms, and things are going to get ugly real quick. And what I don't like about his general being in combat is now I can't send magic missiles and trebuchets on him. After combat, if you look to the left, I lost 2 Grail Knights. What they needed to stick around was very, very low. It might have been a 3. Whatever it was, they made it, which was just amazing. It's not going to matter, but it helps, maybe. On the right, they made short work of my general. Just I don't know if they killed him or if they just broke him in combat. It doesn't really matter either way. Yeah. Very, very happy with how they rolled for their break test. So on my turn, I reform my 2 big knight buses, and I don't charge in with my questy knights because I'm worried that he's going to do so many wounds against men-at-arms that he's going to break my questy knights just through combat res. In hindsight, though, that might be something worth considering because I could go in there, kill a few, and if he does break me, then I flee, get out of the way of my 2 big buses coming in next time, assuming that the men-at-arms can stay there on a stubborn 8 rerollable. On this round of combat, on Bretonnian turn 3, my Questy Knights, my Grail Knights did great. I don't think I lost any. I might have lost one, and they did a bunch of wounds. But when all was said and done, they still lost combat by 1. There was no reroll nearby. They failed it and got chased off the table. Over here, I was 1 wound away from not being steadfast, but I made it. There's a buff on them. I'm pretty sure it's +1 strength and toughness. So they were steadfast and stuck, so I can't complain about that. We go to Demons turn 4. The unit that killed my general charged the rear of the men-at-arms. Doesn't really matter. They were gonna die this turn anyway. Over here, his Flesh Hounds finally get up close enough to charge my my archers, and that's going to be a foregone conclusions. After combat, you see all the wounds he did on my men-at-arms. It was a 50-50 roll-off as to which way they would flee, because there were equal number of ranks in both those bloodletter units. So they fled the way you see it, which is unfortunate. I wish they would have fled the other way, because then I would have been getting some rear charges. But regardless, that's how it turned out. And I really did not want to take my units in one unit into each of his units. The problem was I really couldn't work it out anyway. They couldn't move and wheel and do what needed to be done to double charge a unit. So I did that. I'm real sure I'm going to win the combats. I'm also real sure I'm not going to pop them completely. And I think his chances of winning a war of attrition are very, very high, especially considering that his general is going to be able to countercharge on his turn. So my Peg Knights had rallied, and so I flew them up, and this time I used them as redirectors. That charge symbol on his units just telling me which way it's facing. He's obviously set up for a countercharge, which I can't have. So it looks like that. Between Stone Throwers and Magic Missiles, I think I hit the Magic Missile on his... yeah, I got the Magic Missile. It got through his 3-up ward save again. No, it didn't. I hit him with a Magic Missile, and then I rolled a 1 to wound. So then I landed a stone on his head and got a direct hit, and couldn't kill him. He's sitting on 2 wounds. Now he's at 4 wounds. And that really would have helped. If I could have got him off the table, I at least had a chance of winning a war of attrition against these guys. Look, after combat, you can see, especially this bottommost unit, man, I tore them up, and his roll was awful. So them, I have a real good chance of winning, a prolonged combat. The top unit, not so much. I didn't do enough wounds. He's able to reform, and, he's got the odds up there. So Demons turn 5, he charges my Peg Knights. That's kind of what the plan was for me. His general countercharges, which is just really, really going to hurt. And after combat, yeah, the Knights Errant lost by 1, but they weren't steadfast, and they failed their break test. Down below, actually his Bloodthirster didn't do as much damage as I thought he would, but at the end of this is just looking scary. I'm not going to be able to wound that thing. And at this point, he's so far ahead in points that now I'm just going to have to do some desperation moves to try to do something about all this. So my one initial thought was to charge my Questy Knights into the flank of the Bloodletter unit that's being proxied. The problem was he was going to be able to countercharge me if I didn't break him completely, and there was no way I was going to get that many wounds on him. So I just marched them through there to try to conserve points. The crazy move, well, let's see. Here's, yeah, just doing pot shots on his Flesh Hounds. And between a Trebuchet, because there's nothing else for the Trebuchet to really shoot at, he kills some Flesh Hounds. It's not really affecting anything. But the crazy move, I took my Battle Standard Bearer into the rear here, and my thinking was I'm going to issue a challenge with my BSB. His Bloodthirster cannot accept because the units aren't touching. He's got a Herald that can, and unless he gets Killing Blow, I think I can easily survive him. It gives me a charge and a rear. That's 3 static combat res. If I can get lucky especially with ward saves against his general's attacks, I might be able to get some wounds off through static combat res. His general only has 2 wounds left. If I can pop him through combat res, I might be able to save this. And yeah, it didn't happen. So the Herald had 3 attacks. He only got 1 hit, and when he rolled a wound, he got Killing Blow, killed my BSB. Everything else went to pot. His general absolutely went crazy, and I think he got all 7 wounds on my knights. He had 7 attacks, and re-rolling to hit to wound. I only had a 6 up armor save, and then I had a 5 up ward save. Failed everything, and he just killed them all. So that got ugly real quick. So I mean, the game's over, but let's play it out. It's fun sometimes just to see if you can table somebody. So we see him if he can. He charges my questing knights. Remember, they don't have a ward save, so that's going to hurt. He tried to charge with his flesh hounds. They failed. I felt I got pretty lucky here. He only killed, a few knights, and without a ward save, that's doing pretty good. Didn't do any wounds on him. I was thinking I might have had a chance. I am strength 6, but it wasn't going to happen. So we go to my turn. I'm just hanging out, just still shooting at these flesh hounds, just to do something. He slaps my guys around here, and that's the game. I think I was left with 2 trebuchets and some fast cav. So it's funny. 2 games in a row. At the end of the game, it was an absolute slaughter against me, but it felt like a close game for the longest time. This one, yeah, there's some things I could have done differently, especially allocating. What I did with the Peg Knights at the beginning really hurt me because it cost me a whole unit of Grail Knights. It would have been nice if I could have picked off his general with my trebuchets, but whatever. Those things are going to happen. So both games were fun. I find I really enjoy playing with my Bretonnians. Even these 2 drastic losses, I felt good about. Things go a little bit differently. I don't make 1 or 2 mistakes, and everything could have turned around. So really fun games. Despite 2 bad losses, I feel much more comfortable taking my army to the tournament. So I'll leave for that tomorrow. So hopefully, that's tomorrow as of the recording of this. I may not get this uploaded for a day or 2. So anyway, hopefully we'll do well there.